Holy shit, Shadowlands brings new abilities, old abilities, PvP vendors and currency, new amazing models, no more titanforging, no more corruption, and so much more. So you better grab your snacks, grab your drinks, and watch until the end, because this one is going to be spicy.
Hello there, we are MarcelianOnline and we do class guides and WoW news on a weekly basis, and if you're into that, be sure to drop us a like and maybe throw a comment.
Yeah, man, it really helps out massively. And now, on with the show. Shadowlands brings us a lot of information and news like on a daily basis. And props to the people at Wowhead and WoW Tools and MMO Champion for data mining like around the clock to get us all this info. Now, of course, we're gonna have to talk about the Ion Hazzikostas interview with Sloot. There's a bunch of nice topics there, and overall, there's a huge positive vibe coming towards the Shadowlands thingy, all right? Like, since they started off with the class changes and all of that, and boiling up to this interview with Sloot, things are looking pretty good. Now, one specific thing I know you're interested about is alt friendliness. We bashed a lot on this channel regarding the Azerite essences not being account-wide, but a lot of catching up to do with gear, the artifact power grind. Well, everything that resembles that is going to be gone. And I know what you're thinking. There has to be something to keep the carrot on the stick. Well, Ian did say that they were never intentionally wanted to do that, and I can sort of agree with their philosophy right now when it comes to Shadowlands. So in Shadowlands, and this is what Ian said, first of all, there's not going to be any more grind. You're not going to have an element or an item that needs to be grinded out because of artifact power or Azerite power or whatever. That shit is gone. Secondly, the major thing of the expansion, which is a little bit scary when you think about alts, is the Covenant system. And on that topic, I think we already know from BlizzCon, I believe they said this there, that once you unlock a specific Covenant for your main character, then you will be able to unlock it immediately if you're gonna level an alt. So that's really good. It just means that their whole philosophy, running around playing different characters, is being way more relaxed into Shadowlands. Speaking of covenants and the soul shards, remember the soul shard thingy? Like the talent tree that you go in after you select the covenant and progress through that? Yeah, so props to Sloot for addressing this question, because it is a really hot burning topic in regards to being locked into a specific covenant in comparison to what you want to do within the game. The thing is, specific covenant abilities are better for a specific area of the game, right? You have covenants that would work really well with their abilities in PvP. You have covenants that would work really well in raids or dungeons. And it's gonna be pretty hard for people like you and probably me and a lot of other folks who are trying to do their mythic dungeons on a weekly basis, a little bit of arena, probably going to some heroic raids. And a lot of players are trying to take a little taste of everything the game has to offer, especially at the end game, right? So this is concerning, being locked down into a covenant with a specific ability, and after a certain amount of time you want to do a specific content that may be catered to a different covenant, right? This is the main idea. Now, Ian had some fair points over there talking about the RPG cores and how is World of Warcraft remaining an RPG at its heart, and I understand that. It's just that the argument he made, or should I say philosophy he's basing all of this covenant focus on, is that they'll be able to balance out all of these abilities, and also the mechanics from the game, like within raids and dungeons and affixes, will sure favor a specific covenant ability, let's say in a specific boss fight or in a specific affix, but not that much. So you think of it like this: you go into a raid, one boss in a raid might have you be working really well with the Night Fae thingy ability, while the other one, let's say the next boss, will favor more the Kyrian one. So if that is how it works out, plus they balance it out to not be too distinct and too different, then I think we're on the good ground here. However, you should be still holding your breath with this system, because at the end of the day, we have BFA to compare to. I know they are trying, and they did say they learned a lot of stuff from BFA, and I had this whole stigma of them doing a good expansion and then fucking up, and then doing a good expansion and then fucking up. This has to go, okay? This really has to go. On that note, it's just fair to say that, okay, they're sticking to their guns on this one, but the discussion is open and they're waiting for feedback. Ian did mention that he would like the conversation to be more on, okay, what ability seems overpowered or underpowered, and let's fix that, rather than let's just give it like an easy mode access to everybody to just switch around between covenants. They really want this covenant system to be a core RPG element of the game.
I gotta hand it to Sloot. Man, that dude did one of the greatest dev interviews I have ever listened to. It was amazing. I know Ian and Sloot have known each other for years, as far as Sloot mentioned, so maybe that made the interview a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more casual, and opened Ian's mouth more, which is always good because a lot of cool information was said that we kind of needed to know. And, you know, we've been data mining, well, you know, the community has been data mining Shadowlands for quite a while now, and the plethora of information that's out right now is staggering, and some of it's kind of caught our eye. So, you know, the target capping is one of the biggest things that people have addressed, because why is your ability only going to hit a maximum of 8 targets? And Ian actually touched upon this, and I kind of like this explanation. So there was always, and if you also look at our guides, you know, we talk about this, there's a difference between cleaving and AoEing down. Cleaving is hitting a few priority targets really hard, stuff with like actual sweeping strikes like warriors, whirlwind for fury, stuff like that. You hit like 4 to 5 targets, but really hard, right? Which now is like, you know, 8 targets capped. And AoEing is seeing like hitting unlimited amount of targets with stuff like flame strike, arcane explosion, rain of fire, cataclysm, stuff like that, like a big AoE abilities, right? Now, BFA kind of walked into a trend of everything being kind of AoE-ish, where you just like pull half of the dungeon and just AoE it down, which the way Ian phrased it was pretty good. It was a solution to too many problems, right? That's kind of not what WoW is, and I actually like it. WoW isn't just smashing dozens and 50 and 100 mobs all at once. WoW is tactically tackling specific mobs, CCing, interrupting, kicking, all of that good stuff, right? And taking down AoE a peg is also important. Like, how will this, you know, perform at a high-end mythic plus keys? And I don't know if it's going to have any effect in rates, probably not. But they will set, because this was very important, they will cater the encounters and the dungeons to hopefully reflect this change, so that you don't feel like you're losing a whole bunch if you just don't AoE everything down every dungeon, right? So this is actually interesting. I like more tactical gameplay. It's fun to smash 50 mobs at once, but if you have to do that every time in every dungeon, it kind of makes the content stale and loses some depth. Now that we're talking about combat and smashing things really hard, GCD, what happens with GCD? God damn it, did BFA screw us over? I was initially on the camp of, hey, I kind of like thinking about what I need to do, not just smashing all the buttons at once. But after playing more difficult and difficult content, I realized that, hey, sometimes my reaction timing amounts to nothing if I'm GCD locked. And that's also a point that was addressed by Sloot and Ian, because Sloot basically addressed the whole topic from, a more hardcore player tackling difficult content, because especially as a tank, this is probably most prominent as a tank and possibly as a healer. When you're being hit from 100% of your HP to like 20% or lower in like 1 second, and your GCD window is 1.6 seconds or 1.5 seconds or whatever, you don't have time to react. You see it, oh my god, I need to heal now. Oh shit, I'm GCD locked, right? That kind of environment, that kind of punishment you get from GCD is really something that we shouldn't have in the game, and Ian agreed. And the way Ian addressed the issue, which is something I don't really have a problem with, is that's not necessarily a GCD problem, that's basically an encounter design problem. This is in terms of, let's say, not necessarily tanks, but in reacting accordingly to an event that happens to your character. If you have to react in a split second, that's not kind of how WoW is. That's not how the devs want WoW to be this like super fast, super twitch reactions type game, which is, I don't know, that can be good or bad for some people. I personally enjoy both types of aspects of gameplay. I like being able to react fast and being rewarded for it. But then again, if everything is like a 0.6 second decision-making type reaction, I can see how a lot of people wouldn't like that, and I won't know if I would like it in the long run, because it kind of can get exhausting.
And in today's comment of the day, we have Rokon, and he or she said...
Comment thrown.
This must be regarding our intro, where we explicitly ask for you to throw some comments. Sadly, we don't always catch them all, like...
Here's a comment. Here's another comment. Here's some more comments. Did you see all the class changes? Did you see the unpruning? I'm pretty sure you did. There's a lot of stuff for everybody there. And take note, this is still alpha. There's still a lot of stuff to be either added or removed or changed completely. So take this all with a grain of salt. But you have to remember one thing. World of Warcraft, for the longest time, catered or tried to cater to new players. They kept on making the game so accessible to try to bring in new players and more players in. And guess what? They really fucked that up with BFA. I mean, we talked about this in previous episodes. If you're gonna get a new player to come into WoW right now, it's gonna be a mess. He will not understand what the fuck is happening. All of the systems and everything. With the Shadowlands class changes and looking forward to the future and with the endgame also, I think they kind of dropped this philosophy. And it's pretty about damn time, because really what makes World of Warcraft tick right now is the existing community. Or the existing community that kind of got fed up and left, but they really want to come back if everything is more easy to understand and easy to grasp, so to say. Not easy to play, not easy to master, but you know what I'm talking about, all the systems and stuff. That being said, they are catering to new players with the new leveling system, the new leveling experience, which is all good. That's what should have been done for a long time. Give the classes the depth they need, give the classes the identity they need, and the skill ceiling they need also. It's been great to see like all of the classes getting a lot of fan favorite abilities back. Take Paladins for example, just random example, a Paladin, right? Retribution to be exact. Now, Wake of Ashes was the artifact ability in Legion. It became a talent in BFA, and guess what? They're making it baseline now for Retribution Paladins. Exquisite. One other thing. When you bring back or baseline some abilities that were talents or artifact weapons in the past, you make room for new talents, which was a major fucking issue in BFA. Remember when you hit 120 and it felt like super shallow because you had nothing? Right now we're seeing for a lot of classes new abilities and new talents baked in. I mean, sticking to the Red Paladin, on the last row you can see the new talent Sanctified Rad. But Sanctified Rad is an old talent, but now it's different. It's basically the Light's Decree trait baked into a talent. I mean, that trait was pretty good. It actually modified the gameplay, modified the numbers. You did not modify the gameplay, but it did add a big ass flavor, and now it's baked into a talent. Sure, it's with Crusade, and you know, there's gonna be hard decision in there, but we're not getting into specifics. All I'm trying to say is this is really positive, because now we can get a lot more abilities into play with, a lot more buttons to press, decisions to be made, while also getting brand new toys to play around. It's great. You like PvP? Well, I like it too. Arena specifically. Well, guess what? And I'm sure it's no big news by now, but it's still fucking big news. PvP vendors and PvP currency are coming to Shadowlands. Ain't that a bitch? How much have we been crying for this in BFA? I mean, was it really a hard system to implement during an expansion that they had to hold that out for Shadowlands? Okay, no negative shit over here. The thing is, it's good to have you to target your own goddamn gear. I was really tired of this bullshit ass system they had for gearing in PvP and BFA. This whole mentality of, hey, we know what's best for you, you shall not decide, we shall decide for you. That was like the most ridiculous thing. And Ian did say, and a lot of the blog posts also said that on Shadowlands they're really focusing on player agency. And you know what that means? Let me target my goddamn gear, man. And this is what's going to happen in Shadowlands. We're going to have a PvP vendor. Ian did mention that it's going to be easy to access. I think that was a reference point to like people not really knowing where the vendors are in BFA, but that's a whole nother story. And also we're going to have PvP currency. So you do PvP a lot, you're going to get your currency and you're going to be able to get your gear. Not only that, but you're also going to be able to upgrade your gear, similar to the Bentix system, which is fine. Sometimes it feels very wrong to have to be forced to do, I don't know, Mythic Plus or raids to be able to perform in arenas at a decent competitive level. Not talking glad level here, but you know, trying to have some fun while progressing into PvP. A lot of people do that shit too. This does raise a couple of questions. If we're gonna have PvP gear once again, with PvP currency, does this imply that we'll possibly have a PvP stat? Maybe resilience? PvP resilience, on the other hand, would make a big ass difference, especially if you take into account how much PvE gear impacts the game now, and I'm pretty sure it will do also in Shadowlands. Of course, we're not gonna have corruptions in Shadowlands, but we're still gonna have probably super powerful trinkets from raids and dungeons and so on, like we have now, like Dress the God and the motorbike from Mechagon. Those are like the best trinkets you can have as a DPS melee, at least in PvP right now. They do stupid amounts of damage. PvP resilience on PvP gear can help counteract that, and that was like the whole point they added in that in the first place, because we had PvE gear that really wrecked up people in arenas. With PvP resilience, that can be counteracted. I don't know, I'm going to a wishful thinking territory here, but again, if we're gonna have PvP gear and PvP currency, it only makes sense to have some sort of PvP stat on that gear. Just saying. But what do you think?
In all of this, although most of these changes, most of these explanations that Ian gave can be taken with a grain of salt, and some people might not like them, if it's one thing that we can agree that it's good, it's out of the game, it's no titanforging, warforging, or corruption. That is amazing. They did say at the BlizzCon 2019 that they're looking at how corruption performs to see what system they are going to apply in 9.0, and up until today, we kind of all thought we were going to have an equivalent gear type system where it incentivizes refarming the same gear, would either get the extra eye levels, extra stats, or extra effects to it, the same item. But we don't have that, and I'm actually really happy about that, because an item should just be the item. That's the item of it, right? If they have to add any extra layer to make the item stronger, the same item having a stronger version of itself, maybe make that something like personal forging, like you can just gather anima or whatever and manually upgrade that item through a blacksmith side mechanic. That could be cool. But if it's out of the loot table, if it's not RNG-ish anymore, I'm 100% down with that, because I just want to hit the raid, kill the boss, I got my item, fucking hey, I got it, I don't need to loot it 3 more times, hopefully I get the correct stats on it. No, fuck that shit. And the main issue that they addressed, and this is actually really interesting, the reason why titanforging was in the game to begin with and every other system was because the raid was giving way too much loot. Way too much loot, so when you got an item, it didn't really feel like, oh my god, I actually loot this. So it's like another pair of boots with maybe a little bit better, right? So they're gonna tune down the amount of loot that we're gonna get, which is good. I mean, this is kind of how the game was at the beginning. The loot tables weren't that big. You had 1 pair of boots or maybe 2 pair of boots per raid, not like 3 different types of gloves with different secondary stats. They did say that they want to keep avoidance still in the game as a stat, so avoidance is usually like a titanforge type stat. It can proc on your item. They're not too sure about sockets yet. The way they did with Horrific Visions, where you manually add socket to items, feels like a good system. Hopefully they can bake that into the blacksmithing Torghast type system that we're gonna have in Shadowlands. So I don't know, we don't have any information about this, so stay tuned. And speaking of legendaries, you know you're gonna craft your legendaries in Torghast. Now, how is that going to work? We got a little bit of insight about this as well. So essentially, you're going to craft a basic type item. As you progress through Torghast and the Maw, they were a little bit unsure about if it's just Torghast specific or if it's just Maw related entirely, so you don't have to just do the tower. So you gather resources and you craft the basic item, and then you take it to the blacksmith that allegedly made Frostmourne and potentially other legendaries that we've seen in the past, and that dude will transform it into a legendary. Now, the legendary system seems to be something that they're really working on, because they did mention that legendaries can even have 4 more tier set bonuses that we had in the past, 4 more other legendary bonuses as well. So it seems like legendaries are back to what they kind of were in Legion, in the sense that they will alter the gameplay, they will add benefits, they will change how a spell reacts, they will change how the rotation reacts, which is what I am for. Yes, thank you, god damn it. I want these types of legendaries. I want to pick a legendary that is, oh, right now, I'm actually going to use Raging Blow more than Bloodthirst, because this legendary changes how the spell interacts. That is amazing. That keeps the game fresh, that adds a little bit more depth to playstyles and rotations, and I'm excited for it. Are you excited? Let us know in the comments.
Are you excited? Are you goddamn excited?
You better be, because goddamn it,
I
man.
know we are. There's a lot of information out there. We just touched the surface.
3 days, 4 days of data mining?
Well, that being said, we have to do point out we didn't get any fucking alpha, and we're pretty salty about it. But on to happier things. We didn't talk about the new models, man. Did you see the sylvanas model?
The sylvanas model looks really cool, and it's super interesting that it kind of has. If you remember from the Shadowlands features video, there's like this Torghast dude guard with the armor that looks really like hers.
Yeah, people are speculating that dude is actually the new model for the jailer. Although I would say that maybe it's some sort of acolyte or it's something like that.
It didn't feel
around.
bossy enough to look like the jailer model. But we can definitely take from this that Sylvanas is definitely in with the jailer. Like, I don't know exactly how the story will play out because you don't know nothing about Sylvanas yet.
Yeah. She definitely looks like death magic all around over there.
Yes, she looks like a death knight.
Yeah, it's different Sylvanas.
It's a little bit platey from what I could tell.
Well, that aside, now there is a couple of spoilers here. So if you want to avoid these, we're gonna talk about some new models as well. You've been warned, okay? Keltas, man. Did you see the new model on that?
I did not see the
I didn't see it.
I saw the Uther one though.
Yeah, there's the Uther one, but there's also Keltas, and there's actually some story involvement over there. We're not gonna cover that here.
I think they mentioned Keltas at BlizzCon, no?
Keltas has 2 models. There's the classic model, and there's like the Blood Mage model. You didn't see that?
You see? Oh no, shit! I gotta check it out. No, what I've seen was the Uther and Ysera models, which is really cool because we all love Ysera, man.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that gut-wrenching punch when we got back in Legion when she died, and it's so good that we get maybe some kind of closure, maybe some kind of continuation to the story with her most likely being in the Night Phase zone. I'm
100%
Ardenwold. That's really cool.
Well, you gotta think about it. Ysera had probably one of the most heartbreaking cinematics in the game. I know I shed a tear when I saw that.
Corrupted and then she got killed.
Yeah, all in all, it's really positive vibes with the Shadowlands information.
Oh yeah.
Negative vibes because we didn't get the alpha, but let's just move on to more positive things like our Patreons.
Oh my god, you guys! Thank you for supporting, and there's going to be a lot more cool shit. We're gonna definitely get alpha soon. And more cool content for you guys. And if you want to support us a little bit more and become part of our Patreon team, you can check the links down below. We have a couple of goodies in store for you, and you definitely means that you'll be supporting us. And the bigger we are, the faster we'll get alpha.
The bigger we are. One other thing, if you like this or that, this is all our new merch that you can find in the description. It's the Teespring official merchandise store. This is all hand-designed drawings, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna find something there that you like. This is like the Horde one, this is the Jailer one, we have Alliance ones. What else?
The Flame and
Marcelian ones. Yeah, a lot of cool designs. You should definitely check it out. It's definitely another way to support the channel. As we would say to all of our viewers and patrons and so on, this is not mandatory. It's just different ways, to carry on what we do over here. And with that, we bid you farewell.
Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Shadowlands hype!